I told my daughter that if she could find better, go find it, and now she's leaving. Me, 42 female, and my husband, 39 male, met 12 years ago through mutual friends. He had a daughter who at the time was 6 going on 7. Honestly, I loved her first. My husband was in the army and while deployed, CPS came and removed his daughter from her biological mom's home. She would have gone into foster care had his grandmother not stepped in. When my husband got home from deployment, he divorced his ex, and due to the neglect suffered in his absence, she lost all parental rights and visitation. The kid was 4 at the time and luckily has no memory of any of it, outside of her going to stay at grandma's until daddy came home. I met her shortly after her 6th birthday when she came over for a play date with my kids, who are only 1 and 2 years younger than her, and honestly that was it. She was mine. It started with her being at my house a lot. She had dinner with us while he was working, she went to the park with us, she just was one of my kids. For Christmas that year she told him she wanted a mom, and that it needed to be me. By February we were dating. Within 6 months of that, we were living as a blended family, and I was the one who threw her 7th birthday party. Our kids got along like they'd always been siblings, and now the 3 of them, 18 female in question, 17 male, 16 female, are thick as thieves. We've since had another baby together, now 9 male, and the 6 of us are what I always dreamed my family would be. She has called me mom from the moment her dad and I tied the knot, and if you didn't specifically know, you'd never know I didn't birth her. She even resembles me. Her bio mother pops up every 5 years or so demanding to see her. My husband at first was completely opposed to the idea, but the kid was curious to know her and I can't blame her. We talked about it the first time, she was 8 or 9, and she wanted to see her and the rest of her bio mother's side of the family. In the time since she'd seen her bio mom had given birth to another baby, and mostly she just wanted to know her brother. At the time I remember her being afraid that meeting with her bio mother would hurt my feelings, but I'm not that insecure. I, and maybe wrongly so, encouraged the visit. The way I saw it and explained it was that she had a mother at home. If the old one flaked again, no big deal, I'd be here. She came home from that visit upset and told us she didn't want to see her bio mother anymore, but wanted to see her bio mother's mother. We arranged a visitation schedule with her bio grandma. After a few visits she began to come home upset but wouldn't talk about it, and eventually asked to not go anymore. We were happy to tell bio grandma to kick rocks. They showed up again when she was around 15, and again she went with them. She came home an anxious ball of energy. Not angry, not crying, just really upset. It took me a minute to get it out of her, but she then told us that when she was younger, her bio grandma had been using her visits to force her to see her biological mother, and that she had stopped going over there because of it. On this night, not only was she taken to an ambush where her bio mother was waiting, but her brother who she had gone to see wasn't there. Come to find out CPS took him, terminated her rights, and adopted him out. No one had any idea where he was or if she'll ever see him again. Daughter was livid and told us she never wanted to see them again. We said cool and kicked her off the porch the next time she showed up. Our daughter of topic turned 18 and graduated high school within 30 days of each other. Her bio grandma sent her a card that said something along the lines of, "Your dad and stepmom can't tell you not to see me and your mom anymore. Please call us." She did end up calling her grandma and they had a heart-to-heart in which daughter was like, "Look, I have a mom and it's not your kid. I'll see you, but I won't see her." Grandma agreed and has been taking her to lunch once a month, and to her credit hasn't tried to get her to see her bio mother once. I'm not bothered they see each other, but I'm still very aware of what kind of people they are. Now, the trouble, we made her a deal that if she went to school she could live here rent-free, we'd help pay for tuition and whatever related expenses she had connected to that, food, clothing etc., but if she chose not to go to school we wanted her to work. For 6 months she has done nothing but go out with her friends, play video games, and basically just goof off. She even participated in a challenge she and her friends were doing to see who could go the longest without leaving the house, and she won. 2 weeks. She didn't leave the house for 14 days. We begged her to do something in the way of a job, anything. Even part-time. Entry-level retail work is super plentiful here, and I, having worked retail most of my adult life, even had enough pull to get her a couple of interviews. The first interview blew her off, which was sus, but we ignored it, and while she did go to the second one, she was told there was an error in her application and that she needed to fix it, she just needed to reapply. Once it was fixed the job was hers, and she just didn't reapply. Over Thanksgiving during an outing with friends, she was offered a volunteer position at a cat rescue cleaning cat boxes. She would get up every day, shower, get ready, walk by her own cat's dirty litter box, and then go do volunteer work 3 to 4 times a week. She was bragging about how well she was doing in her job at Thanksgiving, and my husband pointed out that she didn't have a job, she had a time killer. Jobs pay money. I guess that hurt her feelings because the same night she went in and called her bio grandma and told her, "God. You know. I don't even know what. That we were controlling and that she couldn't take it here anymore at the very least." They began to enact a plan to sneak her out of the house and move her to an entirely different state. We sat her down after the holiday and once again made a plea. I told her she was wasting herself, and that at the very least the place she was volunteering was hiring. Get a job there. She broke down and confessed the plan, and since then we have gotten, I don't know, a bunch of truth. It sucked. We found out that for years she's been telling people, especially on social media, that we're homophobic, and that she wanted to transition but we wouldn't let her because we were transphobes. I myself am bi and have more ex-girlfriends than my husband, not a flex, just for context, but some stuff started to make so much sense suddenly. Her friend's mother one time called me a nasty name, and I didn't understand why. Now I do. Her friends, when they would come to our house, would walk on eggshells around us, or even better, show up looking as queer as possible to shock us. One girl came over wearing wings, a tulle skirt, elf ears, and then proudly told us she identified as a member of the Fae and waited for us to clutch our pearls. We were like, oh, okay. So what dietary restrictions should I be aware of for dinner? We chalked it up to them being kids and just trying to figure out who they were, no big deal. It turns out they were trying to scare the straights. Aside from that, I found out that she has been telling people that I specifically am very frequently verbally abusive, that her dad and I promised her she could take a year off and figure herself out, but now I'm going back on that and she can't take it anymore. She had no plans to tell us she was moving out to start, but since we found out she has since moved up her move-out date twice, a thing she doesn't know I know, and will now be moving out at the end of this week. They have promised her all new bedroom furniture, a car, and all the friends she can meet in their excruciatingly small town. I grew up in a town like that. She has no idea what it's like to have Dairy Queen be the height of society on a Friday night or have to drive an hour to see a movie. I was? Well, just so hurt. I told her if she felt like she could find better, go find it. She apologized and told me that when she was telling people all of those things that she was a dumb kid doing dumb kid stuff, but the fake kid was at her 18th birthday. This happened recently. I pointed that out and she asked me to not hate her, and I can't. I really can't. But I'm so angry. She didn't have a wicked stepmother, she didn't feel like she had enough drama or credibility to pain, so she made me into one and made sure the fictional version of her parents were awful. The damage is done. Whoever has been hearing that about us now thinks that about us, and she pointed out that I shouldn't care because they're all younger than me. But I mean, that friend's mom was rude. Super rude. So it does bother me. When I asked her if she was going to at least be home for Christmas, she said she didn't know, and I think that's when I realized just how deep it was getting for me. Honestly, I don't think I care if she comes home for it. I'm not sure I want her there. I can't help but wonder where else this has affected my life. My mother-in-law hates me so much that she and my husband have gone completely non-contact. Was that because the kid was telling her I was abusive? My younger daughter has told us she's staying out of it, but I can hear them argue about me. My older son isn't speaking to her. He said other things are starting to make sense and now he wonders if she's been lying to people about him too. I haven't been a saint since this went down. I don't mean to come off like I'm trying to make myself one. I told her I was ashamed of her, that she had enough trauma in her life to be interesting without having to steal someone else's. In the heat of the moment I called her lazy and a liar, and I told her she was acting just like her bio mother and she now won't speak to me. She left our group family chat. She won't tell me what she wants for Christmas, and now we can't be in the same room without me struggling not to take cheap shots, so if she's somewhere I just leave. And at the end of it, really, I'm scared about her going to live with this family. This grandma was super cool letting her go into foster care while her dad was deployed because she, and I quote, wasn't gonna raise someone else's 4-year-old. I have no idea if she was offered custody of the brother, but if she was, I doubt she agreed to take him. I'm afraid daughter will try to pull this crap there, and that they'll kick her out into the cold at 2 a.m., carless and alone, the next state over. I promise you I would run to get her, but it's still at minimum a 3-hour drive if I were to really hustle. None of that, not how much I still love her, not how much I ultimately don't want her to go, none of it will keep her safe. I don't know what to do, and I don't want to lose her.